Дискуссия посвящена кадровым проблемам рынка ИБ. Многие выпускники вузов и специалисты...
Issues. Many university grads and professionals changing careers face the issue of their resumes not being read, despite the fact that the market is in dire need of the talent. The panelists will discuss how to properly present your experience and what skills are most valuable. Please welcome to the stage Natalia Pechugina, HR Director of Green Atom, Dmitry Lee, CISO IFLT Systems, Yelena Morozova, co-founder and managing partner at Search Group, Artyom Belyaev, second-year bachelor student in information security at St. Pete State University of Aerospace Instrumentation, Dmitry Golikov, independent expert, and Anastasia Fyodorova, a facilitator and head of the educational commercial programs with Positive Technologies.
Коллеги, здравствуйте.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you here at this panel discussion devoted to a very important issue. No matter what we say about the cybersecurity and the various incidents, the most important element are our people and are our staff. And this is what we're here to talk about. Because, like I said, the staff issue is the most frequently discussed problem, and I guess you hear about it from everywhere. The only exception being an iron, because an iron being the only home appliance not linked to the IoT. So we'll be discussing this issue from three different viewpoints. From the viewpoint of a student looking for a job, from the viewpoint of a professional changing his or her career path at a relatively mature age, and from the viewpoint of an HR department, a recruiting department, and top managers who hire people, because we need to find some common ground to breach the time lag in manning the vacancies so that the cybersecurity industry is at the forefront and is able to develop. People deficit is an issue, and we're going to be discussing the fact that we need more people in cybersecurity. It's a pleasure to welcome both offline and online viewers and at our panel discussion. And the very first question I'd like to address is going to be the one addressed to Artyom. Artyom, would you please share your experience in sending out your CV? How did you look for a job? Because as far as I know, you are a sophomore. So what's your experience? Why did you decide to go into cybersecurity? And how come you decided to start looking for a job in your sophomore year? Good afternoon, everyone. Well, looking for the first job became an issue for me because, well, I started looking for a job when I was a freshman. At the very end of my freshman year, I started looking for a job, and I faced lots of obstacles that prevented me from understanding what I was doing wrong. Actually, I can split it into two parts. The first one is the unconscious stage. I just, developed a CV. I populated the CV with everything I could. It was a total chaos on paper, and then I would send out the CV to everyone. For instance, my relatives, and naturally, it did not give me any positive outcomes. Actually, I did not get any feedback from the employers. So all your efforts were in vain. Exactly. How many times did you send out your CV? Well, I have sent out my CV 40 to 50 times. So you are persistent. You're quite persistent. Exactly. But I didn't get any feedback. And the only way for me to score the very first interview, by the way, this is a separate subject for discussion. The main pain point is that advice is published online, pieces of advice published online, and I quote, well, go to job interviews and you'll see what needs to be done. But back then, I had to score my very first job interview to be able to get any experience of conducting job interviews. So I experimented, and that was a way forward for me. I revised my CV several times. I would attach explanatory notes to my CV, but I would just say, I'm a student, I'm a sophomore, I want to work for a company, I have these skills, I will work for food. Please hire me. That was basically my message in my CV. I was desperate at some point of time, and ultimately I went to my first job interview. I realized what people wanted from me, the way it was conducted, and what an average employer actually wants from a potential employee. And the second stage was more or less conscious. I would send less CVs. I would read the vacancy information in greater detail, and I try to offer more than the vacancy description stated. Ultimately, that helped me strike some sort of balance. And well, I scored 45 job interviews, and at the very last one, I was hired. So that was a rule of thumb, how to make sure that your CV meets the requirements of the employers. Yeah, but no one taught me to do that, so I had to make do on my own. When we got ready for this panel discussion, one of the hypotheses that we discussed was that there are many smart people who are hired from this at the very beginning. So maybe that was something that we came up with, but it turns out to be a real pay point for you. Dmitry, I was just wondering, you have 15 years under your belt in law enforcement, and then you moved to cybersecurity and joined a commercial company. Well, we heard what Artyom had to say, a rule of thumb to gain some experience. What was your experience? Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be happy to share my, case and my life experience, but let me go with a tangent first. To change a career path, people have different causes and have different reasons. Some people prepare for that. They find time. They find some time in their existing job schedules to select, the right way to develop their career paths. For instance, they might want to focus on pen test, cybersecurity, info security, perimeter security, so on and so forth. And they undergo training courses on their own. In advance, they graduate from such training courses, and by the time they reach the threshold of changing the career path, they do a smooth transition. And I don't think that such people ever face problems like Artyom did. And there is a second category. People decide all of a sudden to change their career paths drastically, no matter what the reasons are. But they are totally unprepared for this point of time. And there are people somewhere in between. They understand that they do need to prepare, but they lack the time, or maybe they are not persistent enough. And I am a good example of the last category. You just prepare a CV of sorts, just like Artyom did. And since I worked for law enforcement, law enforcement careers are quite stable, and you don't even need a CV per se if you are in the law enforcement. So it was something brand new for me to prepare a CV and to start looking for a job. And I specialized in info security. I majored in information security when in college, but there are lots of work streams even in that domain. And it was problematic for me to pinpoint what it is I wanted to do. I started with vulnerability detection, defense analysis. Exactly, you have to stay focused. My very first job was linked to vulnerability cybersecurity detection. Dmitry, how long did it take you to find a job? And how much experience did you gain before you actually found the first job? Just a couple of months. So that was quite fast. So that's the age difference to you. Natalia and Elena, my next question goes to you. From the viewpoint of an HR department or head of an HR department, from the viewpoint of a recruiting department, how relevant is this issue to you? And what's the difference of hiring people for IT and cybersecurity? Thank you so much, Anastasia. I wanted to address what Artem had to say. I was really surprised that you had to look for a job rather than vice versa. You know, we go to colleges, we go to universities, and I believe that it's true for all the employers. Employers try to raise awareness of their companies in colleges, and I don't think any young expert should look for a job, because it's the employers who look for employees. In our case, IT guys undergo a maximum of 2 stages in job interviews. We try to minimize the time to securing a job. Well, Anastasia, to address your question, information security experts are in high demand, are in a very high demand. For us, it's one of the most difficult tracks because of the shortage, and it takes us quite a long time to find them, because these guys change jobs via community through recommendations, and I believe this is important. Their CVs are not in the public domain if we compare cybersec with other tracks, and HR people cannot get access to the community chats. So of course, we try to hire the young generation, because the InfoSec recruitment is a difficult thing. It takes us a long time to man the vacancies. Natalia, my next question would be about the cross-functional career transfer. It's easier to adapt the youngsters to the new trends. But how about the more mature and more seasoned experts, 35 plus of age? And this is a huge pool of experts, by the way, who can help you solve the staff shortage problem. Do you try to work with them? Well, naturally, Green Atom hires lots of people, and we're talking about thousands of people. Information security experts are very scarce, and our hiring split is 70 to 30. So 70% is the category of seasoned experts, and 30% are the youngsters, and then we nurture them up to the level of skills that we need. And Dmitry, to address what you mentioned, we offer retraining courses for people coming from adjacent industries and people coming from totally different industries. However, retraining info security experts is not something that we offer. We offer training courses for developers, testers, but I believe that this is a vector of growth for us. Yelena, how about recruiting and recruitment? Well, how relevant are the problems stated by Artyom and Dmitry? Is it typical for the market? Do you think they're relevant when you try to recruit people? Well, maybe Dmitry will share his views on that as well. Anastasia, thank you so much for organizing this panel discussion, which is a 360 discussion. I hear the pain of Artyom and Dmitry when they described their process of looking for a job. And I would agree with everything mentioned so far. Being a recruiter, I do understand that looking for a job is always a stress. It's a difficult process. On the face of it, you might say that it's easy to find a job if you want to do that. But Dmitry, you're right in saying that it's a separate line of work. You have to know what you want to do, in what direction. It takes time. And, well, to our audience, I want to say, Don't be scared. Stress is normal. It's a standalone process. It takes time. You don't change your jobs that often. Once every couple of years. But you tend to forget things, which means that you need to reevaluate your targets, your competencies. You have to be able to talk about yourself. Being a recruiter, I still have difficulties in talking about myself. And if people if potential candidates come to our agency, we try to help them in developing their CVs, in presenting their best foot forward when they talk to the customers. For instance, we had a case when we had to present a musician applying for an IT job. Was it a success? Yes, it was a success. It's one of the unique cases because this musician was proficient in processing videos. So it's difficult, but don't worry. It can work out. And HR departments look for candidates everywhere. You mentioned communities as the main source. I like the OTP bank case. They supplied this case to the HR Brand Award this year, by the way. And in-house, they established over 33 communities involving their own employees. But these communities focus both on the inside and the outside, and they try to engage alumnus. These are the former employees and the potential employees as well. So we're trying to think out of the box and go beyond our perimeter to be able to attract as many potential employees as possible. So hiring via community is really a success story because you attract people who really understand what to expect. Exactly, cross-pollination is important, and the HR brand support is also important. Thank you so much for that. Being a hiring manager, Dmitry, is it a problem for you? Are you ready to hire students? Are you ready to hire seasoned experts who want to go at a tangent in their career paths? Is it really so that it's fast to go through the community? In InfoSec, some vacancies take just a month to man, while others take up to a year.
Сотруднику, если увидишь того кандидата, который будет...
Are you ready to seize a candidate if you see that he or she meets your requirements, and how often does that happen? Hi, everyone. Natalia was right in saying that pain is experienced not just by the candidates, but also by the employers. We do see the shortage. And you're right in saying that some of the jobs, for instance, project leads or mid-level managers, can take a very long time to man. It's easier to attract mid-managers. As for the junior experts, it's a totally different can of worms. As for whether we are prepared to hire young experts, the short answer is yes. But to be honest, sometimes we have our concerns because when there are junior experts of an advanced age, let me put it this way, these people are not always motivated. I'm not saying that one size fits all, but amongst that category, there are people with a low motivation. They're primarily attracted by the salaries into the industry, but monetary incentives will not get you far. As for young experts, we are ready to hire them, and we do go to colleges to attract the young generation of experts, just like everyone does. And how often does it happen that juniors come with exaggerated expectations?
Несоответствие навыков ожиданиям.
Есть такая проблема, на самом деле, когда влетают резюме.
Well, it is a problem.
в резюме, во-первых, ничего кроме суммы непонятно. То есть все, что видно из резюме, человек хочет...
All we see in the CV is the salary they want to get, and we have no idea what their skills are. And this is partially this problem boils down to the fact that junior experts are not taught by anyone how to properly prepare a CV. I'm not repulsed by such CVs for the very same reason that I already stated. Sometimes I see that people are only motivated by money, and I see that they are not going to be working for us for a very long time. Money is important, so let's be frank about that. And there is a range of salaries that we are ready to pay to the junior experts. However, what I want to say is that when we talk to the youngsters, we tell them that it's way more important to make the first step in the long haul. Therefore, they should select advanced companies in information security. Maybe the initial salary is going to be less, but it's more preferable than getting a high salary but less interesting cases, thus undermining your long-term value in the market. Natalia, thank you so much. We have gradually progressed to sharing life hacks. So the first point of contact is the most important, and this is true for HR managers, hiring and the recruiting departments. So what triggers and what points will help you look through the CV? You already mentioned the salary expectations and remuneration expectations, but what makes a CV better, and what should a candidate do or not do at an interview to get a job? If I may, this is an open dialogue, so you are welcome to take the floor. Looking through and reading CVs with the young generation is a step back because we talk to them online. We do not go through CVs, and young guys do not always have a CV. For us, being a team player is more important. We want to see that their personal ambitions are lower than the willingness to be a team member. And motivation is also important. If a junior expert does his or her utmost to submit their results on time, we have a lab, a pre-lab, and if they do that, then we invite them and they tell us about their hard skills necessary for their professions. Ladies and gentlemen, how applicable is it not only to junior experts but also for mid-level experts who change their career paths? Just a few words about that. Well, to follow up on the shortage of people, the unemployment rates are low in Russia in many industries, as was mentioned before. But if you're looking for a job from time to time, you have to realize that
как можно войти в компанию, потому что вот как Наталья подсветила, там Дмитрий тоже расскажет, компанию делают очень много открытых форматов.
Companies are willing to work in open formats at different levels of jobs, so that they raise awareness for amongst the potential employees. So it's about mindfulness of a potential candidate. Exactly. So you should first ask yourself, what do I want? What company do I want to work for? Companies have their own blogs, they have websites, they publish articles at Hubbard.com, other websites, they highlight their projects. Let's say a company comes to us and they complain that candidates do not apply to this company because it never positioned itself as an IT company. It never talked about the strong team or the interesting tasks. And what we recommend the companies do is raise their awareness in the eyes of potential candidates. As for the cybersecurity, just recently A new community was established. The name is Cyberdom or Cyber House. Please raise your hand if you have heard about this project. Thank you so much. On the third floor, the Cyber House company has a lounge specially allocated for you. And it brings together junior, middle, and senior experts. They organize hackathons and so on and so forth. That's another life hack that you can use to try and enter the new industry. Dmitry, any life hacks that you want to share with us? Because I do know that you're intensively looking for your dream team candidates. So I was just wondering, how did you establish collaboration with the HR so that the funnel of candidates is relevant to meet your request, and how useful is that for you? I'm not going to be talking about all the channels because everything mentioned by the previous speakers is important. However, conversion in this channel is not that high, at least for the time being, and at least for our company. We keep on using traditional ways of attracting candidates. We still use CVs, we read CVs. For preliminary purposes, we collaborate with HR departments, and they try to deep dive into our specifics, and I'm happy to see that. They provide me with the necessary information for me to be able to understand whether we should invite a person for a job interview or not, whether we should invite a person to take a test or not. By the way, in our case, it's optional. You can either agree to that or refuse to do that. If you agree to do that, if you agree to undertake a test, then it will be a great bonus before the next stage. Many job candidates are afraid of carrying out tests. Some of them are extremely negative, are being negative about that. I don't have any other life hacks about looking for candidates, no matter how trivial it may seem, but the number of people hired is proportional to the number of job interviews done. You have to do as many job interviews as possible. This is the only piece of advice I can share with you. Well, Dmitry, Artyom, what conclusions did you draw based on your experience? What's the way to, have some chemistry flowing between you and a job interviewer? What did you do to make your CV read? Because it's good to hear that the hiring managers are involved in working with community and provide every support possible. But as you mentioned, the problem is still standing tall. Being a junior expert with no job experience whatsoever, I might say that many people make the following mistake. They make their CV too busy. They just try to populate it with every single piece of information on their prior experience. And that just shows the lack of qualifications of this potential candidate. And the relevance for an employer goes down immediately. By experimenting, I drew the following conclusion. If you have any skills and if you want to include them in a CV, should be classified according to various categories and broken down. Let me give you an example of a bad classification. For instance, I know how to use this list of tools, and then you list some terms which are totally not linked. You have to break the tools down by the domains and just give a couple of examples. That will make your CV shorter, and when you draft your CV, make sure that it's short. The cybersecurity industry is very vast, and if you try to describe everything you know or something that you have heard of, you will be short of paper. But actually, this is something that we frequently encounter. People just try to populate their CVs with all the buzzwords, and then you start asking them, what did you mean by that? It turns out that people don't have the first clue about the terms and definitions used in the CVs. Dmitry, was that the case with you? Let me go at a tangent, if I may. A piece of advice for the potential employers. There is no such thing as a perfect candidate to fill your vacancy. You, as employers, look for people who do not meet all your requirements. For instance, they don't have the right set of skills or the right experience. So you have to realize that you have to be prepared for the fact that this particular person can be trained, and sometime down the line, in the near future, he's going to become your perfect candidate. As far as the CV is concerned, I loved what Natalia mentioned. This is a thing of the past because AI can draft any CV, any perfect CV. So you shouldn't pay too much attention to the CV. Live discussion is what you should focus on, or a job interview, because during a job interview, a candidate might prove that he or she has the right skills. This is what I meant by the chemistry. As for the job interview, my piece of advice to potential candidates would be as follows. Don't try to exaggerate your competencies and skills. Don't try to include skills that you have heard of but don't have yourself. Just be yourself. And if you don't know something, be honest about that. Just say that you'll try to deep dive into it. Give me a month and I'll try to hone my skills. Exactly. Be frank about your strengths. Ladies and gentlemen, we talked at length about the busy schedule of hiring managers, HR departments, recruiting departments. How accurate is the description of the vacancy, and how accurate is the understanding of the HR department? And if it is, then does it speed up the vacancy filling process? Well, of course it helps, but we live in an environment that we can rarely find a candidate who meets 100% all the requirements. We just revise our requirements when we interview potential candidates, and much depends on the labor market and the job market. And Anastasia, you also asked a question about the mid-level vacancies. The higher the level, the more attention we pay to hard skills and hard knowledge. Sometimes we are prepared to sacrifice certain soft skills for hard skills, because oftentimes we have vacancies that can only be filled by a dozen people in Russia. And for junior experts, it's a totally different thing. Teamwork, being a team player are the most important skills, and hard skills come second. Thank you so much. Natalia, Dmitry, anything else to add? Well, actually, I wanted to offer a couple of comments, if I may. Indeed, profiling is important, and this is my personal experience because I was the one responsible for job descriptions and profiling, vacancies profiling. I made mistakes. On the face of it, it was clear-cut and so on and so forth. And it was a dream vacancy, which I would want to seize, but we wouldn't didn't see any responses, and that means that we had to change things in the description of the vacancy, and then it takes off. Maybe some events happened across the world, but nevertheless, vacancy profiling is important, and vacancy description is also important. And there is no such thing as a perfect candidate. I totally agree with that. We are aware of that, and when we look for certain candidates, for instance, techies, we pay much attention to their logic thinking abilities. If a person doesn't know something, that's fine, because they can learn things. And we're slowly progressing to the skills that they should have. Are you concerned about diplomas, hackathon participation, CTF participation, certificates, or do you think that soft skills come first? Dmitry, thank you. Sorry for interrupting you, but what do you pay attention to primarily?
I pay attention to everything.
Легче не стало, мне кажется, нашей аудитории. Давай сосредоточимся.
Я с Натальей не соглашусь, но, возможно, я просто не понимаю, о каких там вот
I disagree with Natalia. I don't understand how. I don't understand. Probably you have those specialists in Adam. I mean, you said you only have 10 people to choose from. Probably we have more of a choice. People at different levels, leads, and everything. But initially, I look at, I start with the soft skills. Whether this person is capable of actually working with other people. Hard skills, that's something that's important, of course, but if the person enters a team and destroys it, that would be a lot of damage. The higher the request for expertise,
Отвечая на ваш вопрос, Анастасия, знаете,
to answer your question, Anastasia,
ответ зависит от
actually the answer depends
именно информационной безопасности, потому что
on the actual
мы можем не обращать
cybersec job.
например, на диплом,
In
на повышение
some other positions, perhaps we pay less attention to diplomas,
то именно в этой сфере
training courses.
диплом о высшем образовании.
But in cybersecurity, it's very important that the candidate has the relevant education and diploma to prove it, and that this person undergoes continuous training. Elena, does it happen to you too that during recruiting the employers saying, I don't care about 512, but I want this guy to be an excellent DevOps person. They don't care about the actual credentials, but in terms of paperwork, but rather they would be looking for someone who can confirm the skills, who can prove the skills, and what is the evidence that such employers would accept?
Вы нанимаете, кстати, есть кто-то?
I'd say that actually, do we have anyone who is hiring, team leads, anyone who is responsible for hiring? Excellent. When you are hiring,
Мы немножко коснулись там составления.
and we actually talked about
Все-таки нужно выделить несколько приоритетных.
how vacancies should be worded. I think that we must identify several priority skills. There is no silver bullet.
Очень может не хватать.
There is no one size fits all.
Вообще ищем только экспертизу.
It may be a case of a project in need of a particular expertise, and then we'll be looking for that particular expertise. Or maybe the project is in the stage of growing, and we need to expand the team and do cost devs and support the customers. And then it means that we will be looking for some other skill sets. So in connection to your question of self-awareness, it's very important to also know at which stage is our project or task. And those of you who raised your hand when answering my question, I suggest that you stay in close contact with your recruiters or HRs, those who are doing the actual hiring. And not all companies have streamlined processes, and your IT teams may be quite small. And then
работы с теми, кто вам
We
помогает.
tend to underestimate the impact of those who help you, the recruiters, an external consultant, or your own HR. Please explain to them who it is exactly you are looking for, because this other person, a recruiter, will save a lot of time for you at later stages. So it's a life hack. We tend to underestimate the time that is needed to brief the recruiters. And again, returning to the skills, in Dmitri's experience, in your experience, when you are interviewing, when you are talking to recruiters or the hiring manager, did diplomas ever matter, or were you primarily focused on the hard skills? If you're hiring students, say, and these people, they have several workloads in life, they still need to study and everything. Self-education, self-motivation, and similar factors, life hacks that potentially can help your colleagues find employment faster. Well, actually, of course, the whole field requires self-education. That is to say, you always need to be aware of where you want to be going next, where you're moving. So I suggest that first you need to research the industry before you learn anything about particular technology. There are so many different specializations in the industry. They may look similar, but they may be based on different technical foundations. And after you have obtained some basic knowledge, you can look back, you can look forward, and then you will understand that you don't know where you are in order to always know where you are first. You need to understand the industry and how it is structured. You need to decide where you want to go, and then your path will be easier, and you will overcome various obstacles much easier. Well, I think that the answer really depends on your particular case. That is to say, sometimes diplomas matter, sometimes no one's looking at diplomas. Like Irina said, it depends on the stage of the project. Maybe what your project needs is a particular skill set.
С другой стороны, если наймодатель ищет там какого-нибудь там веб-пентестера, неважно там эти навыки там вы
employers want to recruit pen testers. It doesn't matter whether you attended special courses or you acquired these skills on your own. So it's on a case-by-case basis.
Наверное, еще важно,
To go back to the skills,
Дима это говорил,
and Dmitry talked about that.
если у вас есть цель двигаться
If you have a purpose of climbing the career ladder,
важно фундаментальное
and
образование.
well, of course, to do that, you need to have fundamental education and certificates, and you need to participate in competitions. But at later stages, you need to also develop soft skills to be able to communicate and work in teams. When we were, when we met the colleagues before this panel discussion, I'm a graduate of the Bauman University, and I thought that those who couldn't enter a good university either became teachers or became psychologists. But now, having been working for many years, I understand better that it is so important to be empathic, to be good team players, to know how to build relations. I mean, there are so many people around around you, and we all go through different stages in life. We all have our moods, the mood changes. You wake up in the morning, you have had a good night's sleep, you're feeling great, and go to work, and the next day your child is sick, you didn't sleep well at night, and you are only performing at 20%. You can't expect 100% performance from everyone every day. Teams are built of people, so it's very important to hear others, to know how to communicate with others. Yeah, it looks like this means now a new cybersec profile. That is to say, hard skills, of course, that's a must and must develop, but a cybersec expert these days also needs some soft skills. What about corporate education then? The training, advanced training that companies offer. And what should be the content of this education? Some narrow down skills. Should corporate universities also provide training in soft skills? Well, really, it depends on the life cycle of the specialist in the company, and it depends on the position that this person holds. When we get juniors during the adaptation period, they get a lot of education, not about their profession, but about the company, about corporate culture. And as people build their careers, they get courses on various management competencies, people competencies, process competencies. Again, when people grow professionally, well, of course, the people are offered professional courses. We have our own schools and retraining courses and upgrading courses, reskilling, all of this. And also, no company will be able to offer all possible IT courses that it might need. That's why we cooperate with about 100 different educational institutions, and we can refer our employees to their courses. So again, it depends on where this person is in the company, what is the position, what is the maturity level, and all people have their own educational tracks. And every year we provide training to all of our employees. We have the statistics. Online training is available 24/7, so there is a lot of online, but there is also a lot of offline education. Dima, what about your company?
Своих специалистов, которые взял в команду, где
Do you train your people?
смотришь при навыках soft-skillная составляющая, hard-skillная составляющая.
Hard skills, soft skills.
Я частично об этом говорил.
Well, I think I talked about that already.
Специалист должности, там, в зависимости от того, там, работает он просто внутри команды или все-таки там драйвит какую-то часть команды.
Again, it depends on whether you're just, you are a regular teammate or you are team lead. Well, for me, what matters is the soft skills and the ability to build communication. Speaking about middle management, among middle management, you see good engineers and you are willing to excuse many of the things that this person does because you know that really this person is not doing any harm. But again, we also listen to the demands, to the requests from the teams.
Человек обучаться. Если для него это один из ключевых факторов, для тебя это больше плюс или минус?
I don't know, if someone says that education is a key factor for someone to agree to being employed by a certain company, like, is this an advantage from your perspective? Well, of course it's an advantage, because when we are interviewing people, we always discuss with our candidates how they see the further development, how they intend to how they intend to improve their skills, because during the interview we are not only assessing the candidate, but the candidate is assessing the company and the employer attractiveness. So we want to make sure that these people have an understanding of what the company can offer, how what we offer may be interesting to them, whether they will be able to do something here beyond work. Work takes a lot of time. And the candidates need to be able to see whether this work will fit the life schedule that they already have.
Поддержу
Елена?
и добавлю, наверное, лайфхак для
Well,
наших
yeah,
зрителей.
I'd agree, and
Если вы заинтересованы
here's
в
another
карьерном
life hack
развитии,
for our
Дмитрий сказал,
audience.
можно
If you're
прямо
interested in
прийти
the
к своему,
career development,
руководителю и
you
сказать: «Расскажи
should
мне,
go
пожалуйста,
directly to
что мне
your
надо
superior
сделать,
and
чтобы там
ask
и
that
так далее,
person,
получить следующую
what
должность,
should
стать
I do
руководителем,
to, I don't know,
менеджером, чтобы
be
мне
promoted, to
назначили
become a
какое-то
manager, to
обучение и
become
так
a
далее». Вот
leader?
так словами
What kind of
приходим и
education, what kind of
спрашиваем.
training
Мне
should
тоже
I
подскажу, прошла вот через все вот эти
subscribe
установки,
to?
в какой-то момент думаешь,
And I
будешь хорошо
have
работать,
to
меня заметят, все
admit
будет хорошо.
that
Вот Дима
for a
улыбается,
while I was
на
working,
самом деле
and
нет.
in the
У
paradigm where I
руководителей,
was thinking that
конечно,
if I'm a good
мы,
performer,
как
someone will
HR,
notice
безусловно,
that,
есть оценки, мы
well,
формально
kind
видим
of,
цифры,
and
но когда
HR,
человек
of
приходит
course,
ногами,
is
руками,
driven by
голосом
metrics.
говорит,
We have
как
our
мне
ratings and assessments,
вырасти,
etc.
есть
But when
заинтересованность,
people
вот та самая
come,
мотивация,
when
про
they
которую
approach
Наталья
the
говорила,
management or
это
HR with
максимально
a
ценно
request
и
to
прощаются
study, this is
многие
so
пробелы
invaluable,
в
and
хардовых компетенциях.
perhaps we will
И
again
для
we will
того, что,
excuse
ну, когда у
some
человека есть
gaps in the
желание.
hard
Еще
skills
хотела
if people are
как раз
willing
Мне
to
кажется, нам
acquire
прям
them.
можно переходить к лайфхакам.
Yeah, I think that we can turn to life. Well, I think that we've been listing these life hacks for the past 40 minutes.
К вопросу то, что Дима сказал, что
As to what
действительно
Dmitry
сейчас есть такой
said,
тренд,
there is a
приподниму нас
trend.
на космический уровень, но когда вы думаете, о чем я хочу заниматься, особенно опытные специалисты, есть
When
такой
you are
тренд
thinking
на
what you would like to do,
мультикарьерность.
there is the trend for being a multi-career experts. Starting from a certain grade, colleagues can now be occupied on several projects at once. This may be their main job in the corporation, and they may be leading some startups or working in consulting.
Все, как бы идея в том, что вы должны понимать, вот какой трек
Basically,
карьеры у
you need
вас,
to understand what is your preferable career trend.
А я здесь добавлю,
Next,
мне кажется,
Дима.
там компаниям
Well,
иногда
actually,
выгодно,
I think
выгодно
that
внутреннее перемещение, потому что
sometimes
это там более экономически выгодно. То есть,
internal
найти там хорошего, там,
repositioning
да,
of people may be quite lucrative. You can turn a developer into an engineer. You can cultivate a second-line analyst from a first-line analyst.
Ищут работу и замещают вакансию.
Совет.
What is your advice to those who are looking for vacancies? Study always. Study on your own. Study at the expense of your company. Артем?
Здесь надо еще на самом
I
деле,
totally subscribe to that.
какую-то компанию,
In fact,
сначала разберитесь с тем,
I don't know, if there is a
занимается.
vacancy, first you need to understand what this company does, what it offers, whether you will be able to develop there. Well, actually, I think this is great, and this panel discussion is all about awareness of the candidates and awareness of the employers. Anything that you would like to add?
Там их особо нет, но, наверное, это проще.
Well, I don't think I have any life hacks in this field. Candidates, the mega versatile CVs. I'm willing to be a junior DevOps, and if this position is not available, I'm willing to be a canteen manager. No, this kind of stuff doesn't work. Be brief, be to the point. Don't write things that you don't really understand. Don't claim to understand things that you don't understand, and do not try to be versatile, because at least I can't relate to that. It's best if you say little about you, but be impressive. You know, why am I so focused on the CVs? I think that in engineering, it's very important to be clear, to be precise, either in writing or in conversation.
не справился.
And again, if the CV is not clear, if it's not well articulated, this is telling me that this person is muddled.
Ну, мы должны понимать,
If you're
вы
looking
должны
for a
понимать,
job,
что мы
you have to
работаем
understand
в огромном
that
дефиците профессиональных и не
we
только
need
профессиональных
a
IT-специалистов.
professional
Поэтому
IT
первое, будьте уверены в
specialists.
себе,
There is great
точно
shortage of
каждый
IT
специалист
specialists, so
может
be
найти себе
confident.
работу в
Every
разных
IT
компаниях с
person will
разным
be able
уровнем
to
сложности
find a
задач,
job
понятно.
in
А второе, если вы ищете
different
работу, открывайте
companies,
компьютер и
varying
набирайте
in
не знаю, вакансии
complexity,
Росатома,
etc.
стажировки Росатома, либо другой компании.
And go to the websites of the potential employers, Rosatom, and I think that you'll find so many opportunities. You'll have so much choice, because right now I don't think that the choice is the problem for IT candidates.
Очень важных факторов.
Colleagues, we actually talked about several very important factors, and the first key insight for me, and I think that this is the insight we're going to share with the audience, is the
Соискателей, да, а я
clear understanding of the candidates as to what kind of vacancy they are looking for, how do they see their future and their career. They need to be clear on that themselves. Artyom, Natalia, Dmitry, Yelena, we all agreed that awareness, self-awareness is very important. When you are selecting a career, profession doesn't mean that you are choosing it for life. But we need to first demonstrate our skills in the chosen profession. And that's why we need to invest into our own development and education. Probably we can't always expect that the employer will take care of that. So
уже говорили, там, верных рассылок.
do it yourself. Do not set too high demands
Чтобы понять, как я хочу
to the employer, but you need to be clear on how you intend to develop, on what you want to focus,
на ту компанию, в которой
and choose the companies that will enable your inclination to development. So do not look just for any job. Instead, find a company where you can be of benefit to each other. Because it's absolutely correct what colleagues are saying. Not only companies are actually looking for employees, but candidates are also looking for the best fitting company. And then you will be able to make moves inside, lateral movement. And then when you forge that chemistry with your company, you become loyal to the corporate values. This is when the value of employment increases. So we'd like to wish everyone a success.
Я хочу сказать огромные комплименты тем,
And I'd like
кто
to
выходной день
compliment
проводит
those
свое время на
who decided to
таком
spend their
обучающем мероприятии. Вы точно
weekend
делаете
here
вклад
at
в
this
развитие
almost
вашей
training
карьеры.
event. An almost training event. You are definitely investing into your careers. Thank you very much for sharing this hour with us. We pass regards to all the online listeners, and thank you.